Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Leah. I'm a portrait photographer who is now dabbling into weddings. In today's video, I wanted to go over my essentials that I've been bringing to weddings recently. We'll be talking about my favorite camera gear, some things that you may not have thought to bring, and just other miscellaneous items. Just a little disclaimer, right now I am just really getting into the wedding industry. Before this, I had been doing a lot of senior photos, and I am now just second shooting with a couple local photographers near me, and it has been such a fun experience. And in the fall of this year, I have two of my first LDP weddings, which I am so excited for. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into my wedding photography gear. We're going to talk about the most obvious camera gear that you need to bring to weddings, which is going to be cameras. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know that I recently upgraded to an R6 from a 5D Mark IV. I am currently filming on my R6, and that is my primary main camera for weddings. The R6 is an amazing wedding industry staple camera, and I have absolutely loved it. With the R6, I really love how fast it's able to focus. Whenever I see a loving moment at a wedding happen, like a hug of a family member, I know that I can just get my camera up super quick and get the shot. The R6 is truly my favorite camera at the moment, and I also wanted to talk about my 5D Mark IV. The R6 usually stays on my right hip. I will show my little dual camera holder later. And on my other hip, I have my 5D Mark IV. This is still such an amazing camera, and I really love having both of these. The only thing I will say is it's definitely not as fast for the focusing, obviously, so my R6 really beats it in that aspect. The 5D Mark IV is such a great second camera for me. I have really loved being able to have DSLR and mirrorless. I love having two cameras for weddings because I just feel like I'm safe if something ever happens to my first one, that I know I have something else I can shoot on. Always a good idea to make sure you have two cameras for weddings, just in case something happens to your primary, your secondary can take over and save the day. It's definitely a luxury to have two, but I really think it is important in the long run. I also don't have to switch out my lenses as often because I'm able to dual shoot, so that makes it super nice as well. Now that we're good for our camera bodies that I work with, we're gonna go ahead and move on to everyone's favorite lenses. Since I started out second shooting for weddings, it was really nice because I got to figure out kind of what I wanted my style to be with my wedding photography. I have shot on my 85mm for my senior session, and I really love it, but I recently got the 35 back in June and wanted to see if I would be a 35 shooter or an 85, and I've now figured out that I am gonna be both. I really love the way the 35 shows off backgrounds super well, and I love the way the 85 blurs backgrounds, so it's so contradicting, but I love both lenses. Alright, but let's get into what I actually bring on a wedding day. The first lens that I bring with me on a wedding day is my 35mm 1.4. All of my lenses are EF Canon lenses. I do use the EF to RF adapter on the R6, so keep that in mind. The 35 is perfect for those family portrait shots, just making sure you can fit everyone in one big frame. I also really just love the look of the 35 for couples photos and bride photos as well. Again, as I mentioned earlier, while I love a blurred background, I really just love the way the 35 allows you to show off the background while still allowing your subject to pop out from it. The 35 is a very big staple lens in the wedding industry, and obviously I can see why as now from shooting with it. Alright, so the next lens that I have been bringing to weddings with me is my EF 24-70 2.8. I purchased this lens when I first got my 5D Mark IV 2 years ago, so it's been with me for quite a while, but I honestly don't use it as much as I should. I decided to bring it with me to weddings to use the 24 capability so I can get super wide shots of the ceremony or the venue space or anything like that. I've actually really enjoyed it for being able to get those wide shots, but other than that, I don't find myself using it a lot. It's also really nice for family portraits. I do really love this lens. It gets great shots. This one works just fine for me, and I like it for a wedding day. Alright, next up is the 85 1.4. This is again the EF version. I have no RF lenses. This is such an amazing lens. I love it. I talked a lot about it in my What's in My Camera bag, which a lot of this will be repeats from, but I do have some specific wedding stuff in this video, so make sure you stick around for that. I love this lens. I could go on and on about it. I could make a whole video on it. If you do want a whole video on it, let me know in the comments down below, and I will be sure to do that. The backgrounds you get are just so blurred out and flawless. If you want to see a comparison of the difference in millimeters for the 35, 50, and 85, I just did a video on that last week, so make sure to check that out. For the ones I've been second shooting at, this is perfect for ceremonies for me because I am not really the main shooter. If I was, I might look into getting a 135. I feel like I wouldn't use a 70 to 200 as often. If you're a wedding photographer and want to let me know your main uses for it, or if you think you need it, let me know in the comments down below. That would be super helpful. So I did quickly want to mention I do keep my 50 1.8 in my bag, but I have yet to use it at any of the weddings that I've been second shooting or assisting at, so I'm not even going to really put it in here because the 35 and 85 have been my main lenses throughout these different experiences. So those are basically my lenses that I like to use, and there are so many different combinations that photographers use, and I know a lot of them also have 100mm macros for ring shots and that kind of stuff. I personally don't. I find my 35 and 85 can get pretty good ring shots that I can crop into. I don't know, something to maybe look at in the future, but since that's not my full-time industry that I'm in right now, I didn't see it was necessary to get that yet. Alright, so next up I wanted to talk about flashes because I actually just got one yesterday that I wanted to talk about. I'm going to start with my inexpensive one that is actually serving me so well for weddings, it's kind of crazy. This is the Neewer NW651 flash. You can find it on Amazon for about 60 bucks. It has worked actually really good. I wanted to start on something super easy and simple before I actually got into more flash photography, so this has been such a good basic starter flash for me. I actually bought 2 of them. The only problem is my other one stopped working about a month ago, and it was at a wedding, which is really bad. Thankfully I had 2 and this one was still working, but my other one is now sitting in my trash can, which is kind of sad, but I just replaced it with a Godox one, so I'm going to talk about that one now as well. I do want to mention this does not have ETTL, so just a heads up, it is completely manual and only connects to your flash by the hot shoe. There's no internal settings that you can do with this, so just a heads up, it's a very manual, beginner, basic flash, nothing fancy about it, but it actually does such a great job. That flash also takes AA batteries. It has 4 AA's, so if you're someone who doesn't want to have to keep replacing those, look into something else. Let's talk about my upgraded flash that I just got actually yesterday. This is the Godox V860, the second version of it. I don't really know. I saw there was a third one that was I think like $40 more that I decided just not to get. But here is what she looks like. Here's the 2 different flashes side by side. You'll see the Godox one has a lot more buttons on it and looks a little bit more professional than the Neewer one. On the Neewer one you can do slave 1 and 2 and master, as well as multi-mode to be able to do like bursts of flashes. In the Godox one, you are able to do multi-ETTL, manual, and there's a couple other settings that I haven't played around with yet. Here is what the front of them looks like next to each other. Now this one does come with its own lithium battery that you do have to charge, so that is something that is kind of nice for me since I will no longer have to replace the AA batteries every single day. I'm going to be using this lens this week. I'm going to be using this flash this weekend to see how it compares to my Neewer one since it was such a basic lens. Why do I keep saying lens? Since it was such a basic flash, we're going to see how this one compares and if it is really that much better, if the lighting is better, we'll see. But again, this is the Neewer one I've been using, and now this is the one I'm going to start using this weekend. Alright, so obviously I bring batteries with me in both of my cameras. I have 2 for each of my cameras, and when I switch them out I charge them in a nearby outlet if I can, which has worked out fine for me. I find that the R6 drains a lot faster than my 5D Mark IV, but I'm also shooting more on the R6, so that could just be completely biased on whether I shot on that one more. And then with me I also bring a little pack of SD cards that are fully ready to be able to be used for shooting. Next we're going to talk about straps and my dual camera strap. First up is this one actually came with a dual camera strap. I'll link it on Amazon below. But it is just this cute little leather wrist strap that I can put on my R6 when I'm using it for things like details where I don't need to be dual shooting. This works great because I don't have anything attached to me on the neck weighing me down. It's just a little extra support in my hand in case I don't want to go without anything. Alright, so this is my dual camera strap. I got this on Amazon. I will link it down below. I completely forget what the brand of it is. This is so nice, and I know that dual camera straps, especially leather ones, are really expensive, and the fact that this was only like $60 is kind of blowing my mind. I have used this for all 3 of the ones I've been at so far, and it has worked absolutely perfect for me. This is what goes on your back, and then this is like backpack, so it goes on this side and the other side. But again, it has worked super well. You just want to see how it works in case you've ever been curious. I will show on my 5D Mark IV. So it comes with these little screws that screw into the bottom of your camera. It has a flap that kind of comes up that this carabiner will attach to, and you push down this little metal thing that kind of locks it in. Open the clamp, flip it in, and then you push that metal lock over top of it so that it doesn't come off. And then you also have an extra little reinforcer strap. I have mine set up where I put a little loop on this side so that I can connect it well. And this one always stays on my left. I put it on my right accidentally. So I have my little loop on the left side of the camera, and on my R6 I have it on the right side. That is just how I like to shoot. But you can attach that separate reinforcer strap to just make sure you have two, just in case something happens to it. And then you wear it like a backpack and can easily bring up both of your cameras, super nice and easy. This has worked super great and it has been a really nice alternative to the super expensive strap. We'll see how well it holds up. I'll give an update later down the road. For now, it's working great. Now obviously wedding days are about the bride and groom coming together in marriage, but let's be honest, the bride has probably been dreaming of this day her whole life. So anything we can do as photographers to help her day run as smoothly as possible is very important. Now something I like to bring in my wedding kit just in case something happens is a sewing kit. Now in my family, I did grow up with my mom being an amazing seamstress, so she did give me this little pocket sewing kit, but it's really important because something like this or even safety pins could really help save the day and help the bride de-stress. As much as we need to take care of her, we also need to take care of ourselves. Some little things I like to bring along with me is ibuprofen in case I start feeling gross and need to make sure that I am able to keep shooting. Mints and gum are definitely an essential for me. I also bring lens wipes with me to make sure all of my lenses are smudge free, and I also love to bring business cards with me along the way in case anyone asks for my name and I can just hand them something super easy without interrupting any other things. Obviously, bringing a water bottle with you is super important. You're probably going to be outside a lot shooting a lot of the pictures, or if you're inside even, maybe it's hot in there, you never know. I bring a pretty big water bottle with me to make sure that I am staying hydrated the whole day. Bringing some snacks with you as well in case the dinner food is something that you're not really into, as well as just before the ceremony. Maybe you've been there since 10 a.m. and the ceremony isn't until 5. That's a pretty big, long day of not eating, so make sure you bring some snacks with you to make sure you are all good. Taking pictures for someone's wedding day is a very important thing, so make sure you're healthy and ready to go. If you're someone that lives in an area with a lot of potential rain, then something you may want to keep in your car just in case is clear umbrellas from Amazon. Just in case on rainy wedding days, having some kind of backup for those bridesmaids in case they do want to do outside photos is a great way to be able to do that. Alright guys, that is it for what I keep in my wedding gear kit. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions about anything, be sure to comment down below. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up below, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on another video from me. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next one.